It started on a Tuesday. Just like any other, the Millers were what you'd call a perfectly ordinary family, living a quiet life in a quiet suburb. But a single delivery was about to unravel their world, piece by excruciating piece. It began with a small, unassuming brown box on their doorstep. No return address! No note. Just their name, neatly printed. Inside, nestled in black foam, was a key. It was old, ornate, made of a dark, tarnished metal. They were puzzled, maybe a little amused. A secret admirer. A bizarre marketing stunt. They laughed it off, placing the key in a kitchen drawer. A forgotten trinket. A week later, another box arrived, identical to the first. And inside, the exact same key. The laughter died in their throats. This wasn't a joke anymore. It felt like a message. A cold, silent warning. They compared the two keys, holding them up to the light. They weren't similar. They were identical. Every scratch, every unique groove in the metal was perfectly replicated. A knot of unease began to twist in their stomachs. Who was sending these? And more importantly, what did they open? The days that followed were filled with a low, humming anxiety. Every car that slowed down on their street, every shadow that flickered past the window, sent a jolt of fear through them. The third key didn't arrive in a box. One morning, Sarah Miller went to get the mail, her hand trembling slightly as she opened the little metal door. There it was, just sitting on top of the letters. No box, no envelope. Just the cold, dark key, waiting. It was as if it had simply materialized inside their locked mailbox. The air grew thick with a sense of violation. Someone had been there, on their property, close enough to touch their lives. They started checking everything. They added a new deadbolt to the front door, kept the blinds drawn, and triple-checked the locks every night. Sleep offered little escape, their dreams filled with the image of that single, cryptic key. They tried to maintain a sense of normalcy for their kids, but the fear was a palpable thing in the house. A silent, uninvited guest. They would find themselves staring at the key. Now 3 of them lined up on the kitchen counter, as if trying to decipher a language they couldn't understand. The silence of the house felt different now, heavier, as if it was listening. Then came the newspaper. It was a Saturday morning. Tom Miller unfurled the morning paper on the breakfast table, and there, nestled between the local news and the sports section, it fell out. The key. It clattered onto the table, the sound echoing unnaturally loud in the silent kitchen. This was impossible. The newspaper was sealed in plastic, delivered directly to their driveway. There was no way anyone could have placed it inside. The very laws of reality seemed to be bending around them, trapping them in a nightmare they couldn't wake from. The feeling of being watched was no longer a suspicion. It was a certainty. They weren't just being targeted, they were being haunted. That was the breaking point. The charade of normalcy shattered. Sarah's hands were shaking so violently she could barely dial 911. They told the police everything, their voices cracking with a mixture of fear and desperation. They showed them the collection of identical keys, the boxers, and explained the impossible appearance in the mailbox and the newspaper. The officer who responded was polite, professional, but you could see the skepticism in his eyes. A prank, he suggested.
Maybe some kids in the neighborhood?
He took their statement, bagged one of the keys as evidence, and promised to have a patrol car drive by more often. But his reassurances felt hollow. The police couldn't protect them from something that didn't follow the rules. After the police left, the house felt even emptier, more vulnerable. The Millers huddled together in the living room, the silence pressing in on them. They didn't talk. What was there to say? They were trapped in an invisible net, and it was slowly, methodically tightening. That night, sleep was out of the question. Every creak of the house, every rustle of leaves outside was the sound of the key of the person or thing that sent it. Tom sat in a chair by the window, staring out into the darkness,
waiting for something he couldn't name.
Around 3 a.m., a floorboard creaked upstairs. Not from the wind, not the house settling. It was a distinct, deliberate sound from their daughter's bedroom. Tom and Sarah froze, their eyes locking in shared terror. A cold dread, sharper and more intense than anything they had felt before, washed over them. Slowly, silently, Tom got up, his heart hammering against his ribs. He crept up the stairs, each step an eternity. He reached his daughter's room, the door slightly ajar. He pushed it open. His breath caught in his throat, preparing for the worst. The room was empty. The window was wide open, the curtains billowing in the night breeze. His daughter was gone. Panic, raw and absolute, seized him. He screamed her name. On her pillow, where her head should have been, lay a single, dark, ornate key. And this time, tied to it with a black ribbon, was a small rolled-up piece of paper. With trembling hands, Tom unrolled it. It wasn't a note. It wasn't a threat. It was a map, a hand-drawn map of their own house with a single, large X marked in the center of the master bedroom closet. The closet that had been locked for years, the key long since lost. Or so they thought. They stood in their bedroom, staring at the locked closet door. The air was electric, vibrating with a terrible, unspoken question. All this time, the answer, the horror, was not outside trying to get in. It was already inside, waiting to be unlocked. What secrets were hidden behind that door? And what had they just been forced to release?
The story of the Miller family doesn't end here. In many ways, it's just beginning.
What do you think was behind the door? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoy mysteries that keep you guessing, make sure to subscribe for more stories like this. Thanks for watching.